Hello and welcome to the Video Gamer UK podcast. My name is Matt Lees. I'm joined by Chris Bratt.
Hello.
Not Simon Miller, unfortunately. I miss Simon Miller.
Already?
I like it when he's not here.
Oh man,
We've got Steve Burns.
Hello.
he'll do. He'll do.
I like having I've had Simon opposite. We've had a Simon multiplier for the past month.
Multiplier?
We had a 4 times Simon multiplier, and I was really enjoying it. We were about to hit a mega bonus streak. We've also got Dave Scammell.
I'm on a journey through space into a next-gen galaxy.
I've still got Dave though, and that's all that matters really.
Yeah.
Dave's amazing songs.
Yeah.
How is everyone doing this week? We've got obviously next gen Galaxy Adventures coming very soon.
Yeah, it's all
Yes.
kicking off
Yeah.
today, right?
Well, at some point today, there's going to be lots of PS4 stuff on the web today.
Yikes.
But actually, probably by the time you listen to this podcast. Because we're going to be talking about a little bit of that today with
We
Mr.
are.
Burns.
Yes, we are. And actually, why not? Let's kick it off. We've had so much speculation and talk and blah, 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 blah about next-gen things for a long time, and now we have actually got our hands on them in proper. What have you been playing, Mr. Burns?
Killzone.
Killzone.
Killzone. Yeah.
Is it kill win or kill fail?
It's kill middling.
Oh.
I think it's got the same problem that most Killzone games have. And it's the same with Guerrilla Games has the same sort of problem that Crytek has, is that they make incredible technical pieces of software. And then the game
But
part
they ain't
of
got no
it,
soul, man.
The game part of it feels a little bit like a guided tour, almost like a benchmarking tool for you to walk around and go, oh no, those textures look
Yeah.
amazing.
Crytek is very much a case of that.
But Christ, that's because they've got an engine to sell. Gorilla's not doing that.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a lot of pressure on Guerrilla because it's Sony's thing. Killzone generally has existed essentially to sell Sony hardware.
Yeah, I've got to say, I've never played a Killzone game. However, every time I've seen a trailer for a Killzone game, it's made me think, oh, I want to play that. And then every time I've read a review of a Killzone game, I thought, oh, I don't want to play that.
Yeah. But they're interesting games. If you were to just look at them, they try and do something a little bit different from the normal. We are America, and
You're about 3 feet tall for a start.
Yeah. But the narrative is
Play as a
generally-
5-year-old boy.
Yeah, well, you do actually. Spoiler alert at the start of the game. But
What?
Yeah, spoiler alert. But the narrative is generally about an exploration of whether you are the bad guy or not. But unfortunately,
old bean.
Yeah, it's so
like Haze.
po-faced. Yeah, a little bit, but it's so po-faced. It's almost like a 6 or 7 hour long exploration of that 5-minute Mitchell and Webb sketch. Are we the baddies? And you know that you're the bad guy from about 25 minutes into the game, and then 4 hours later, you go, I can't believe I've been doing these things. I killed a lot of people, and I'm not gonna lie. For the last 4 hours, I felt pretty bad about it, and then after just kill more people.
I played a tiny little bit of Killzone, a PlayStation 4 event, and I remember it looking very, very nice. I remember having an owl, which was weird, and I remember being able to kind of you could kind of launch yourself around the map. It's like is it wire, is it? Or?
Yeah, it has like various buffs, so you can use it to. The drone is the owl. It's not like an actual owl, which would be amazing.
Oh,
but it's not.
man.
And you can use it to distract people and shoot them.
Harry Potter.
Hey, look at the owl.
Yeah, you can use it as like a portable zip line. But in all of the, and this is one of the major problems of the game, is that in the kind of lead up in the preview showings, most of what you saw was that forest section.
Yes.
Is that the one you
Yeah,
played?
that's the
And
one.
that's all you see.
I played it. It was rubbish.
And that's because it was more open. You could use the owl. You could chart your way through. If you want
There
stealth.
seemed like
As it
was
goes
almost
on,
like a kind of
no, it becomes far more linear. And the problem is that it looks incredibly nice, and its lighting is excellent, and not just on like a massive scale. There's loads of, if you go into like a ghetto at some point, and there's loads of small bits of like detritus knocking around. So it'd be like pencils. They're fucking amazing, well rendered. It feels grimy, and that's how the
So
technology.
next-gen pencils.
Next-gen pencils.
That's the thing to get
But
excited
I mean,
about.
what if you like a kind of for the kind of Call of Duty fan, and I'm not saying that in a derisive way. I mean, like people who like a kind of bit of a linear walk along shooty things. Is it still good?
Well, I'd say that if you're a Call of Duty fan, you probably become quite bored with it because it falls into this middle ground where it wants to be, quite serious, and this is the story, and we're infiltrating. How am I the
Call
bad
of Duty
guy?
was always like that, though, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
but the thing with Call of Duty is no matter how serious it got or silly, it would always be building towards like a set piece.
Yeah.
Like in this, you fly to a space station that's become infected with like a biological weapon, which one side or the other is going to use.
That sounds pretty set piecey.
That's pretty cool. You get there, you plug in a load of power cells, And you're like, well, it feels like it should be like Dead Space, but it's not. It's like find the power cell to open the door. Like, you're joking me. Like, you feel like one of those kind of like the banal reality of being an actual astronaut. Can you fix this? Yeah, I can do that. And then you escort someone at the end of that or of another space mission. And it's just like, I'm on a giant crate in space.
At any point does I guess does the spaceship blow up? The space base blow up?
I mean, that'd be spoiling it, but yeah.
Good,
but
good.
there's not enough silliness. There's all the enemies do is they're not stupid per se, but they're not really intelligent.
They're not like Halo style.
Yeah, they don't really flank you or anything like that. And so they'll rush you, and there's only 2 or 3 really distinct enemy types. One has an energy shield and all of this. And there's loads of cool little combat buffs you can use, but you never need to use them. And so the narrative isn't really engaging. The combat is quite rote. You just like shoot, shoot, shoot. And the set pieces aren't there. So really, you just feel like you're moving forward through a story that the game just wants to tell you whenever it's ready.
It's fascinating how kind of games have got stuck in this sort of almost apologetic narrative state in which they kind of feel like they have to, if they're going to have a game in which you kill hundreds and hundreds of people, they have to then put a little stick on the end that goes, oh, but that's quite bad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, well, it doesn't
silly,
work.
If it was really stupid, I would love it. And also, sorry, and speaking of stupid, as Dave said earlier,
I'm talking of stupid, points to me.
Not you, David, not you. It has this strange, I think it's only in some of the missions this time around, but has this real strange problem where the camera is too low to the ground, so it looks like you're about 4 feet tall.
Yeah.
And it completely ruins anything they're going for. And I was looking back over my notes for when I started the review, and one of them, and this is how I opened the review, was, am I a midget? Like, that was a question that's being asked.
I imagine that was like a full sheet of paper you just written that.
Imagine that at the end game. It's like when Metroid, when it revealed that you were a woman, and it's like this one, the camera pulls back GoldenEye style out of your head. And it's like
you're odd job. But it's stuck between 2 worlds. And I don't want to get too like edge kind of what if you could talk to the monsters or if you could say things to them, but I remember thinking this world is really, really well realized and how it looks, and this kind of global iron curtain between New Helgen and the Vector sides. Like, I'd love to actually be like a Cold War style agent in this world, and not just for a gruff man to go and kill everyone. I'd love to cut around and cut some deals or something.
That makes sense. I mean, basically, it seems like the setting and the aesthetic are almost kind of done an injustice by kind of quite bland gameplay.
Yeah, I'd say so. And it's got like a turret section. It's got a sniping section. It feels like...
It's a shooter by the numbers, by the sound of it.
Yeah, it feels like...
It's the graphics that pull it through, presumably.
You want to see what happens next. And some of it's really impressive, but it's so unbelievably po-faced. And I just think that, again, with the whole Crytek thing, you have to admire their ability technically, but you just like, and people will enjoy it. You will, if you like Killzone, you will enjoy it, but you never need to use anything other really than the first few weapons you get. In fact, I think at one point the game forces you to use the first weapon because all enemies do is rush you. And just think this would be so much better if they had a better creative team, not just a great technical team.
I'm right in thinking you didn't get the chance to play the multiplayer yet.
I went to Sony's offices and it was just a single player that was on.
I seem to remember the last Killzone, the multiplayer seemed to get quite a lot of attention.
Well, 3 and Shadowfall, they've really pushed the multiplayer side of it.
Are you getting the impression that they're going to do the same with this, or is this more of a showcase of like, look at the pretty single player campaign?
Well, I can't. I mean, I've not spent a single second with multiplayer, so I couldn't really say. But I can say that it feels almost a bit like Rise on Xbox One, where it's like it will come packed in with a lot of people's machines or whatever. And someone will come around to your house.
It'll be the game that you pick up to show off your console.
Look at that. And people go, oh, that is good. And you go, right, can we play someone else?
Sure.
But
I don't know, like me and Brett were watching videos of Perfect Dark Zero yesterday.
I wasn't watching any videos of Perfect Dark Zero with you.
Brett, not Brat.
Come on, you egomaniac.
And you look back on that game and you can kind of see it came from that era where they were just kind of experimenting with shooters on consoles, and you could see like the geometry and the way the levels are laid out and things like that. But you still look back at it and you think, that was the game that you picked up to show off the Xbox.
Yeah.
at the time. And
Even though
that
it was
and PG
really bad.
Yeah, true.
I mean, like,
But-
Perfect Dog Zero was just bad.
But it had some funky effects in it. Like, it had this cool motion blur effect that we were like, what? You don't see that in current gen games anymore. Like, that's a big next gen feature now, this motion blur stuff. So I don't know if Killzone will be the game that people look back on and say, you know, that game, it looked really good. Because the launch trailer came out yesterday, and there was a scene in that everyone's gift up fucking arsehole that looks amazing.
Yeah.
There's the scene where you're flying through that
Where you're on
city.
yeah,
or
I
whatever
mean, I
it
don't
is.
want to give that's kind of towards the end, so I won't give too much of it away. But the problem with the game is probably encapsulated by people getting excited about that GIF, because immediately before that, you spend about 40 minutes again finding like power cells and traipsing around this way. And you're
guess, like,
I don't want to shoot anything. I don't want to find anything. I
For
don't want to do
techno
anything with this
people,
world.
for tech people, like that'd be enough for me. If I see that
Yeah.
like every half an hour, I'll be like, "Wow, yeah, this looks good."
It's
And
difficult to
that'll
get a
keep me
hold
going.
of, obviously, because we have to remember that Steve hates games. So, you know, it might actually be not as bad. But
Yeah.
we should mention we have got the review on the website now. So if
Yeah.
you want to read Steve's review and a little feature about it, then you can do. You can dip more into that. I'm not, I mean, to be honest, I'm not on the fence either way. I've never played one of these games. I know there are a select number of people who really love these games, like really love them. And not just kind of nutty fanboys. A lot of media dudes who I know who like really rate them as a series. I've never played them, and increasingly I'm just not in love with first-person shooters anymore. I feel like the Titanfall's the next one. I think if Titanfall doesn't tickle me Tadger in the nicest way, then I'm probably done with FPSs for a couple of years until they do something new.
I think a lot of people are, and I think that Shadowfall is the same sort of thing that a lot of next gen games are at the moment, which is they are, you know, tomorrow's graphics and yesterday's gameplay. And
Just let's all just take a moment. Let's just take a couple of moments to imagine a alternate world reality in which Bulletstorm was a huge success.
Yes, yeah, let's
Because
do
that game was amazing. That was the last time in years that I've played a first-person shooter campaign.
Yeah, the
and
campaign
sat
specifically.
having an amazing time.
Yeah.
The problem with that game is overshadowed by all the dick jokes and stuff like that in the marketing. They messed it up.
They completely fucked up the marketing, you know, because what happened there was they marketed it purely at Dude Bros. It turns out that Dude Bros don't actually know much about whether or not games are good. And so all the people who bought all the people who bought Bulletstorm, actually, you see them talking about it on the internet, they go, it was shit. Loads of people think Bulletstorm was shit, and it's because they marketed it at absolute fucking idiots who don't understand a good game if it comes up and whacks its willy in their face. But if you're not one of those people, play fucking Bulletstorm. In fact, I've got a copy of Bulletstorm on PS3 in my house that someone can have.
There you go.
There we are.
get
First
better than
person
that.
to post on the forum on the just post it on the. Where should we do it? Where should we
Just
do
post it
Um,
somewhere.
I don't
Which
know.
thread?
What
Post it in the podcast competition thread, just
Yeah.
for the sake of. Yeah, so find the
Which
latest.
will be going? Actually, no. That's going to be going up today. What about the VG versus Fred? That
All right,
one.
yeah, the VG versus thread, which is the new thing we're doing. Where, oh god, no, actually, we'll just start a new thread. Remember, start a new
Oh,
thread.
right. Okay.
Sorry, Brat. This is
Win
ridiculous.
Matt's copy of
Overruled.
Bulletstorm.
I was going to say send me a message on Twitter, but actually that will just result in me getting like hundreds of tweets from
Can I
you.
have Bulletstorm?
Yeah, don't do that. We'll create a new thread on the forum. Go to the forum. First person to post on that thread can have a copy of Bulletstorm.
I might have one as well. You never
Yeah.
know. I've
Oh,
got
man.
loads of PS3 games
might
just
have
lying
to
around.
then.
I need to get rid of them.
because it's on my shelf and I don't need it.
Yeah.
So dumb. It's
Little-
an impromptu competition.
Fair enough. I like it. I'm kind of in a similar position to you. I think Battlefield 4 still has me excited, just in terms of
I've got it
what its
installed.
multiplayer is doing on next gen. I mean, I can't wait to
Oh no, I've got it installed
jump
on
into
PC.
that. Oh,
So
well,
next
there
gen.
you are. Yeah.
Ooh.
I was going to say, I mean, that is basically next gen.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at it yet, but I reckon it'll look nicer on my PC than it does. Probably a bit equal, I think, because I always forget how powerful my PC is until I start playing games on it, and I suddenly go, "What the fuck?"
On
Usually-
top settings, it looks better than next gen, slightly, but only if you are
Oh, yeah.
proper like looking at it under a microscope.
I'm not
to-
too fast. I just want to
No.
learn to fly a helicopter.
The average user will play the next gen by copy of Battlefield and be like, "Wow, that looks wicked."
Yep.
is
That'll be me.
well.
That will be me.
That'll be me as well. Yeah.
So, next up on the game roulette of funds, let's have a complete change in tack briefly, and let's have a little update. Brat's Ocarina of Time update.
Hooray.
Da, 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 da.
How you getting on?
Okay, so I've made some progress since last week. Not quite as much as I would have liked, but progress nonetheless.
Yeah, the pace at which you're approaching this game is fantastic.
So what was the name of the
you were in
the cavern?
You were just outside Dodongo's cavern.
Yes,
last time.
and the rock trolls wanted me to go in and
the Gorons
sort it out because
The rock trolls.
They want
to beat him.
They want to eat the nice rocks and not the bad rocks, and they're
Give some
starving.
bad tummies.
Yeah.
Can't wait, yeah,
Too
but
many
they're
bad rocks
starving to
spoils.
death.
Well, yeah, but would you rather like starve to death or have horrific shits?
Well, you. What an odd
This is from
question.
somebody who often eats at Greg's.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, I've cleared Dodongo's cavern. Did I say that right?
Dodongo's, yeah.
Yeah,
Who's
cool.
dong? What?
And yeah,
It's good though, isn't it, Dodongo's cavern?
It's really good. I did have one moment where I kind of, we were talking about the idea of that you can run out of consumables, which is a new thing for me.
Yeah.
Unless I'm playing Dark Souls with you or something. Yeah, you can run out of consumables, and I ran out of pallets for my slingshot just as I was about to approach the last boss, and then I had to go on a little bit of a treasure hunt.
You got to be
find
careful. Adds a bit of an element of risk when you're like firing at bats and stuff. You're like, oh, should I just ignore the bats?
Oh, exactly.
And run away?
It's always the flying enemies. I've started getting to the stage now where I'm really protective. And one of the things you pick up in the cavern is the bomb bag, which is a pretty big upgrade. It means I can find some secret areas and throw bombs at enemies, which is marvelous. But I'm really worried about doing it in case I run out of bombs. I'm very protective of my little stash.
Usually, as I've said, there's a little trick with Zelda games where usually in any dungeon there'll be a place near the start of the dungeon which will have some pots, and if you smash those pots, you'll get the items you need for that dungeon.
Yeah, I did find that. I thought I'd have to leave and find a merchant, but no, I just kind of.
Nah, there's always something.
explored.
You just got to work out where it is.
Yeah, well, that's fair enough.
What about the boss? The boss in Dodongo's cavern.
Yeah, killed him first time.
It's quite easy.
Yeah.
But it's exciting.
It's a good
I just
boss.
remember
I
being
actually-
like, oh, fuck, it's a
I actually
fucking
think my
dinosaur.
favorite part of it was opening the main entrance to get to the boss, because you explore all around that cavern, and then finally you get the bombs and you have to drop them in the eye sockets, and then it lights up and the mouth opens, and it was just a really nice way to. I mean, the boss was rather easy after that. I was expecting something a little bit more crazy, but the entrance to the boss was freaking awesome. After then, I've got screwed over again, actually. I ran into a few problems with that gravekeeper chap who stole all my rupees.
Dampe.
Promises of treasure. Well,
You didn't go back for more, did you?
No, I still think there's treasure there, because I did have a root round in his little hut and
So to
read his
speak.
diary. But I moved on to the water area with the people that look after the royal family,
The Zoras.
the Zoras, and I'm
I'm the only person in this room. I wish. This is why I wish Miller was here, because now I'm the only person shaking my
You're
head.
the only one that can get angry. Yeah.
Oh no, I appreciate that the water people perhaps isn't the correct way to discuss the Zoras.
The Zoras. I just get so excited about Zoras and Gorons.
It's
Yeah.
a bit racist,
The
really,
Zor-
isn't it?
the-
Just
The
calling
Zoras
them
do seem pretty cool.
names like that.
It is a bit.
It's a bit.
And you know a couple of things about racism.
Call them their proper name.
It's true.
So I went to their home and had a bit of a wander around. Turns out the princess is missing. Guess who needs to bloody save her? This is becoming a
Mario.
it's becoming a recurring theme, I tell you. This is the second princess I've had to go and save. And yeah, to kind of you find like a note saying that she's trapped in a fish or something.
Honestly, this
You don't
sounds
get
like
that
the
anywhere
best- Like this descriptor of the game makes it sound so much better than even it already is. And she's in a fish. I don't know. It's
Are we
like
still
Drunk
talking about
History.
Killzone?
I know. It's like a really big fish, and to get in, like, to rescue her, you need to kind of go and feed it, so it opens its mouth and then you jump in. But you feed it a fish, right? And you need to go and find a way of bringing a fish to it. And annoyingly, there's a kind of a pool set up next to this area where you can go fishing for fun and like see what weight of fish you can capture or something. I imagine there's some point to that. And the wording when you go in there is like really vague. It says that you can fish as long as you like for however much it costs, but you can only keep one fish, which suggests that you can keep one fish, correct?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's a goddamn lie. You don't get. I thought I needed to go there to get the fish, to open the mouth of the big fish to save the princess, and that's not how you do it.
No.
You just literally grab one from the water outside. I didn't know that, so I spent all my rupees once again, and this guy who owns the fishing ponds made an absolute fortune.
It's good though.
Out of me.
Honestly, because at some point you'll want to go back and try and catch a really big fish, and your experiences with fishing will help you.
I'm getting rid of that guy. I don't know how. But he's
He's start assassinating people in Hyrule.
if that becomes a possibility, he's top of the list, followed closely
Guerrilla
by
Games
the
presents
Gravekeeper.
Zelda.
Wow, that's a bloody list feature for you. Top 5 people I would murder in Ocarina of Time.
But yeah, I'm in a giant fish, seething princess, and yeah, it seems to be going all to plan so far.
I like the fact that it's been like 2 weeks and you're
I've
still on the
found
third temple.
Yeah.
I mean, that's more because of the fact that I don't remember how long it took us, but I mean, now I could probably do that in about an hour or two. Just because you know how to do it, it becomes like...
Yeah, but like, for example, when you're even approaching that area, before you get to the home of the Zora people, there's like loads of stuff going on just on the kind of route to that area.
Yeah.
You like, if you grab the chicken by the entrance, then there's loads of extra platforms you can get to for extra heart pieces.
Yeah.
And it took me quite a while to figure out exactly how to get
How
all of those
amazing was
pieces.
it when you discovered what you could do with chickens?
Oh my god, yeah! The fact that you need to do that as well with in that first village, and like I was puzzled for ages because I could see a chicken on the other side of the fence. I was like, how do I get to it? When you pick up the chicken, you can kind of float a little bit, and oh my god, it changed everything. The game's a different place.
Video games, man.
Chickens.
Chickens. Well, that's an exciting update. And tomorrow, actually, we're going to do a Zelda special podcast because we've got a review of the new Zelda on the 3DS coming out this week, I think. Does anyone know what day?
No idea.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay, well, it's coming out soon, I
Friday?
think.
Thursday will be the review.
Okay, so the review will be
Tomorrow.
tomorrow, and we will also have we're going to do a Zelda special podcast, just talking about Zelda games because we love them. And I've given...
I've got a
Kevin
challenge.
Bratt his homework. He's got to finish the first 3 temples and then go
I've
back
done
to...
I've done 2.
Yeah, no, you're almost there.
I'm in the 3rd, so...
It's not impossible. You're in the 3rd. So
I thought the 3rd temple was the water temple, by the way. How embarrassing.
Well, that's the thing. It sort of is, but it isn't, because you'll see. But anyway, your homework is basically to now get as far as going back to Hyrule Castle afterwards. If not, maybe if you can get a bit further. But
Princess the Magic
but that's
Box.
it's just so you've got a bit more information. Yeah, we're all nodding and winking at each other now, as I'm sure if you're listening.
Yeah,
you
I'm
are as
nodding
well.
and winking as well. I don't know what they're talking
So
about.
if you want to hear about his direct reactions to all that stuff, then tune in tomorrow for a podcast special. Anyway, Dave, what have you been doing this week?
I finished Call of Duty Ghosts campaign, which I thought was utter shite, and I
Yeah.
can't believe what's happened to
Dave,
Infinity
Do you
Ward.
remember when I came back from the review event?
I
and
didn't
said-
believe you.
and
I
said
did not believe
If
you.
it was just a campaign, I'd give it 3 out of 10. You went, "Oh, come on, birds, you hate video games." A week later, no, actually, sorry, Steve. Yeah, it is abysmal.
Unbelievable. You look back to like Call of Duty 2, Call of Duty 4. I
Yeah.
don't know what's happened. Well, I do know what's happened. The team's fallen apart, but
Everyone's left.
Everybody knows what's happening,
But
right?
it's still like it's such a shame to see a studio that was once capable of doing such great. And I know the multiplayer has sort of taken over a little bit in recent years, but the campaigns were still quite good. I was
Yeah.
one of those that actually really liked Modern Warfare 3's campaign, and I know.
Yeah, I didn't mind it at all.
Yeah,
Thought it was good.
thought it was really good.
Yeah, I actually I thought back to that recently, and it was actually quite good. I think that was the one where it was like, oh god, this isn't terrible.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it was pretty hammy, but
And you just think, like, even the opening of Modern Warfare 3, where you're in New York and the helicopter flies over the top, everything's going wrong, going mad. And what's the opening in this one? You're
dad-
all sitting there,
your
your
dad
dad's
tells
telling
you-
you a story around a campfire or some shit.
What?
And you're like, what is this? Unbelievable. And then you go into space, it's quite cool. The space bit's quite good.
Yeah, Space Bits.
I
But
don't
you
know
don't
how
really
you make.
do
I don't know.
anything.
I'm not sure how you make that jump from sitting by a campfire to going to space.
well-
sounds like the only good thing about the campaign is there's a bit where a dog drives a Humvee.
Yes.
yeah, that's all I've heard about the campaign.
That's
Actually,
the only thing I know about it.
I think
That
my-
and you go in space.
My problem with it is that they're trying so hard to try and put emotion into it, force emotion on you and force like, oh, care for your dad, care for your family and all
Well,
that
that's
stuff.
been the
It's
problem from
rubbish.
like the whole. They've ever since they did the whole nuke in the first Modern Warfare game. Sorry, spoilers. They've just been chasing the nuke.
Yeah.
And it's like ever since that they've been like trying to have a moment like that, and now they've sort of almost not given up on doing that, but now they've thought, well, maybe we're not going to beat that, so maybe we'll just try and run emotion
That's
all
the
the way
thing,
through it, and they've never managed it.
They're always quite cold. They're always quite brutal. I mean, even stuff like No Russian in Modern Warfare 2, you know, very quite dark.
They were going for the shock factor.
Absolutely. But in this one, it doesn't do that at all. It just kind of goes for this hammy kind of, yeah, we're dude bros. Yeah, we're gonna save the fucking world. Yeah, man. And it just doesn't work in Call of Duty. It might other shit like it's the kind of stuff I'd imagine Killzone doing, and they can kind of get away with it because that's the tone, right? But Call of Duty, it seems like maybe they're taking inspiration from what Treyarch's doing with Black Ops a little bit, and I haven't really enjoyed the Black Ops.
It
campaign
sounds
as
like
much.
they've made Starship Troopers 2.
I just don't know where it's gone wrong. I can't. There's not one thing that I can that can
I
really.
think that on RPS the other day there was there's a nice article about how I think this is true about how Call of Duty's campaigns always used to be a man on a battlefield.
Yeah.
And especially in the original game, you remember I think it's the Stalingrad mission. You don't even have a gun. You wait until the guy in front of you dies to pick up his gun. And then Modern Warfare changed that a little bit. So you were kind of like, you were now a little bit more of a Superman, but at the same time, you still got killed.
Yeah.
And
Soap was faceless. Like, what I liked about Soap in the first Modern Warfare was you would just, all
The
you knew about
fucking
your
new guy,
character
you
was
know.
you were the new guy, you were called Soap. And that was it.
Yeah,
Like-
and you were fucked. You were in all these situations. And the follow the man in that case was, you are the new guy, get behind me. But as you become more, your Superman style antics become, so removed from the actual plot that you're just killing people, and there's no reason for you to kill any of these people really. And the article made that point. It's just like, now you just essentially glorifying.
I like the
violence,
fact that
and
actually,
shooting
I
people in the
remember,
head.
because I remember in the first Modern Warfare, one of the most, because when I replayed it a couple of years ago, just to get a refresher, they're one of the kind of best moments I'd almost completely forgotten about. And it was when you're in this kind of, because you forget, it is almost like on Resident Evil 4 par in terms of the fact that you play it back and all the missions are really good.
Oh yeah, super.
But there was a mission where you were in this like big wooden barn on top of a hill and you had to call in like attack helicopters and stuff.
to make it down the hill, right?
And an airstrike and all this stuff. And you had to make it down the hill. And I forgot that when you're playing that on the kind of harder difficulties, the idea of actually gunning everyone down is just like, no, that's not what you do.
Yeah.
All you can do is just call in these airstrikes and just fucking run. And you're just sprinting down this hill, taking opportunistic pot shots at anyone who's near you. But your main mission is just like fucking run. And like, they don't... what I liked about that was it wasn't scripted. And you compare that to more recent Call of Duty games, it goes, run. And they go, run, so run. And the music goes,
fell
dun, dun,
behind.
dun, dun, and the drums kick in. And it's like, yeah, you fell too far behind. And it's become this sort of sequence where you just follow that person and you will survive. Whereas in that, it was just like you were running down a hill. You could actually gun your way down slowly and stuff if you wanted to, but the best way to do it was just to fucking leg it. But it was ambiguous. It didn't say to you, you weren't running fast enough.
I don't mind that so much every now and then, the kind of scripted stuff, as long as it's exciting, as long as it does enough to interest you at the same time.
And it isn't
really
exciting.
Well,
if you know it's scripted, it stops being exciting.
True, but if there's enough going on around you to, so you can kind of be intrigued by what is going to happen, what is happening. Whereas this doesn't have any of that at all. It's
There's
just
no intrigue. You were saying about Modern Warfare, like the kind of the moments, the pacing. I think there's two moments in that aren't the nuke moment or the sniping mission. There's one where I think it's Al-Assad's son. It's the mission's called The Sins of the Father, where you chase him to the roof and you're just trying to get him and he kills himself. You're like, fuck, shoots himself in the head right in front of you. And the second mission, when you capture Al-Assad and you have him in the barn and his phone rings and Price grabs it, gets who he's working for, says nothing, just shoots him in the face. You're like, fuck. Like, whereas now you do all the shooting in the face, man on top, shoot them all. And there was a reason for why you were after these people. It's so flat, Dave, isn't it? It's like, go here, shoot these people. Okay.
It's just like an awful B movie, really. And
when the submarine comes out of the ice to rescue you after you've been driving a car on
it's
it.
just, there are a couple of levels that I quite enjoyed. The rappel level. The thing is, like, the ghost's name, I guess they kind of thought they were going for this almost like a Spec Ops type vibe.
Right.
And when it's trying to do that, when it is almost a bit like Rainbow Six, when you're rappelling down the sides of a building, when you're breaching in through these big glass skyscrapers, that stuff's quite cool. And they probably should have done more of that. But Call of Duty can't, because it's all about this loud, dumb, bang, bang, shoot, shoot. And you can't combine those two sneaky stealth stuff, strategic stuff, with that loud and dumb stuff. It just doesn't work. It needs to be one way or the other. And that's the game. The game is so conflicted between these incredibly linear run down a corridor, gun every man in sight type thing, blow up a couple of helicopters on the way, and then these where it's trying to get you to pretend that you're being clever and that you're being sneaky, and it doesn't marry up either of the two. And I don't know, I just really thought it was really disappointing. And like I said, I didn't believe when you came back and you said I thought you were in one of these moods where you're like, oh, Call of Duty shit, whatever. And no, you're
I love
absolutely
Call
spot
of
on.
Duty. Not this
Yeah,
one, though.
yeah. So no,
That's
guys,
2 in a row because I thought Black Ops 2 was exceptionally poor as well.
Yeah.
Black Ops 2, I enjoyed the second half of the campaign. I thought the first half was rubbish, but I quite liked
I'm on a horse.
some of the
Yeah, that-
terrible.
Honestly, the bit on the horse was the bit which I thought, oh my god, this is going to be the best ever.
Same.
But then I started playing it and thought, this is really just fucking tedious.
When
Yeah.
you turn into the Predator. It's my all-time favourite moment. When
I
you're
mean,
playing
honestly,
the drug
I was
lord.
gutted there wasn't more of the sci-fi stuff. Because at the start, it was like, oh my god, this is silly James Bond stuff, like wingsuiting down through a temple.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, this is brill.
I needed more of that horse level, just because you were riding around.
Rockets on a horse.
Yeah, taking out helicopters while riding a
I
horse.
didn't like the horse level.
Well, no, it was rubbish. But,
But it
when I
was-
realised that the level was me on a horse firing rockets, I
Yeah,
thought
exactly.
I sat back and thought, hang on a minute. I've just had James Bond sci-fi shooting stupid robots. It was so tongue in cheek. It was almost like No One Lives Forever. If you remember that,
Yeah.
it was so dumb. And then it was like,
Bring back
hey,
No
this
One Lives
level.
Forever. Where's that gone? Bring
the
that
plane
back.
level. Where you
I don't think I'll ever
parachute
come
out.
back.
No, it won't come back. No.
But yeah, you're on a horse firing rockets, and I just
Yeah,
literally thought, oh my god, they finally
Yeah,
worked it
they
out.
realised that it's ridiculous, and they're embracing that. And
And then suddenly, like half the middle of the game was all just like
No
Call
more
of Duty
horses.
levels that felt like Call of Duty levels.
Yeah.
It didn't even feel like you were in the future anymore.
Yeah.
It didn't do any more sci-fi stuff.
And for some reason, I don't know why, but they seem determined to kind of shove in these vehicle sections now. The helicopter, there's a helicopter level where you fly.
Oh, that's the worst. worst
Awful,
mission ever.
absolutely awful.
They're trying to compete with Battlefield, and it's
I
the
know.
dumbest thing they've ever done.
I think it's the penultimate level where you're in the tank. You drive it again, absolutely. And the thing is, you come from Battlefield and then go
Yeah.
on to that, and it's like, what are you doing?
That's why Call of Duty were always smarter, just to say, you know what, we do what we do.
Yeah.
They do what they do. But it's like they're clearly now they're getting a bit nervous and they're trying to kind of
yeah.
and they can't beat DICE because no one can beat DICE at that. They're
Yeah.
fucking amazing. Oh my god, I just remembered that DICE are making Battlefront.
Yeah.
I just remember that every now and then.
That's that now. That'll be it.
It's
Once
like
that
waking
bad
up in the
boy
morning and
comes
realizing you're in a helicopter or something. It's like it's just one of those things you suddenly go, oh shit, that's like a guaranteed amazing game.
It is.
Yeah.
With Star Wars.
Well, see how that goes though. Because is it like the old Danger Close team doing that? I'm not sure.
I thought it was DICE doing it.
Well, DICE LA,
Yeah.
so which is Danger Close, presumably,
Yeah.
mainly. We'll see.
I heard
we'll
rumours
see.
that Danger Close were called Danger Close because they were in risk of being closed if Medal of Honor was bad.
Well,
But
that worked out well for them then. didn't it?
yeah, I think if that's true, then it worked out all right for them. Anyway, finally, what have I been playing, Chris?
XCOM for the most part, isn't it?
I have been playing a lot of XCOM actually. I haven't really had a chance to play many games this week, but yeah, more XCOM. I think I've talked about it loads, so I'm not going to talk about it anymore.
Same. Mechs are bloody cool. I'll just add that.
Yeah, you've been playing it,
Um,
and you actually because I didn't have a chance to play around with mechs that much.
Yeah, I'm not sure really, like towards the end of the game, like how important that will be. But at the beginning, anyway, it kind of suggests that you need to either go down one of these two routes, either go for the gene mod stuff or the sexy mechs. And I went with the sexy
I
mechs.
think you can go for both.
Yeah, I think you can, but it doesn't seem that expensive. But it definitely suggests that you have to make a decision. Just with that cutscene where they introduce those two ideas, and yeah, the mechs just look incredible.
They're fucking cool.
And you can have them like ridiculous colors as well.
Bright pink robots
Bright
with
pink.
bright pink fedoras.
Oh,
Yeah, it's very cool, very fucking cool. And actually, I will
That's it,
say
isn't it?
something I couldn't say last week. I think I can't remember. I think we might have been embargo zones, but you can give it's a tiny little touch. But if you're an XCOM fan, this will speak volumes. You can now there's like different types of medals, and if you do well at a mission, you'll get given a medal. And there are 5 different types of medal. And they're all stuff like International Service or Defender medals and stuff. But you can choose the name of it.
yeah, and you can also choose what the medal does. So it's quite
Yeah.
a personal touch, which a lot of people, if
So
you
you
play
get-
XCOM, you really get into that.
You get given these little buffs, and it's like a medal that's like you can give it a name, and then you can choose what the bonus is.
Did you name any after like fallen soldiers?
I should have done actually. I should have said that. God, the Kit Kat Chunky service badge or something like
The Barry Smith, the first soldier I ever lost.
Memorial, Barry Smith Memorial.
Yeah.
Jules and Jobs Memorial.
I think it gives plus defense as well. So it's like, hopefully you won't die.
More like Barry.
Yeah, but good luck.
More like than Barry. But I just love that the fact that you can then basically. It's just another element of customization that makes you feel even more attached to the dudes. Because I remember having a level where I just completed it, and the sensible thing to do would be to give all my medals to like my best soldier, because it's like, well, he's the best soldier, let's make him even better. But instead of like somebody got wounded, but they managed to kill 4 people on the first mission. So I was just like, yeah, like you're getting a medal.
I'm exactly the same.
And that person died like the next mission, but it didn't matter because it was like, because they're quite limited. That's the thing, is like, it does make you think who you're going to give them to. But some of them are amazing. Like they do things like you can give them a medal that means they won't panic if one of their colleagues dies. And it's just like, if you've got someone who's really skilled but has like a really low, like willpower, like somebody who's a bit shaky, maybe you can give them that, and it'll be like, here you are. Like, I like the idea because it adds a kind of a little narrative. Because for those of you who haven't played XCOM, it's one of those games where people look at it and go, it's turn-based strategy, but actually it's not. It's like, it's a bit turn-based strategy. It's a bit of a puzzle game. It's a bit of an action game. But more than anything, it's like, it doesn't have a very like deep story. And it means you make your own stories.
I'd argue the story is pretty rubbish. It's a very generic alien invasion, but like you say, the stories you make with those characters that you've created
really cool
are incredible.
You end up being like, yeah, you know, give them a medal because you're like, you know, it will keep them together. You'd be like, you give them confidence to then hold their shit together. It's such a good game. No, I highly recommend it. If you haven't played XCOM, people keep asking me if they should get Enemy Within if they haven't played XCOM. And I don't know because I'm so like familiar with XCOM.
Yeah, it's a good point actually, because if I tell you what, if you are starting with Enemy Within, that's a lot to take on board straight away.
A lot.
I guess the advantage is with Enemy Within, it's your choice what you take on to an extent. You can mess around with the starting options, but still, I
kind of feel like
there's a lot of systems in place.
I mean, the thing is with the original XCOM is you could go off on a tangent quite badly if you weren't careful. And you had to play it a little bit before you worked out what was important to build and what wasn't. Yeah. And I kind of feel with too many options, you might end up spreading yourself even thinner. I'd recommend, to be honest, play the original first because it's a game with replay value anyway. So after you've got about 30 hours of it, of the original, you'll probably know whether or not you want the expansion. And by that point, the expansion will probably be a bit cheaper. Because I've got to be honest, like 20 quid is a bit steep. I think 10 to 15, yeah, definitely. Because, I mean, the thing was, I remember before I reviewed it, and if you want to read my review, it's on the site now. I remember sitting back and thinking, this is really good. Feel like I've had a bit of a dabble. Feel like I've just started playing with some of the stuff. I've got loads of other stuff I want to play with. This is a great expansion. Like, it's really, really solid. There's loads of stuff I want to do. It's reignited my love for the game. How long have I been playing it for? 27 hours. And that was 27 hours in a week. Like, and it felt like 6. It felt like I played it for 6 hours.
Hours for the price you paid. That's not a bad ratio.
Honestly, it's very, very good. It's just really, really smart. The only other thing that's quite brutal, I don't want to talk about this, and nobody's really spoiled this actually, but I will just say that there isn't, one of the new things in the game that happens is I think apparently it's a one-off mission rather than a constant threat, which is a shame. But there's a point in the game now with the expansion that there's a chance you might get your base invaded by the aliens. And that happened to me, and it ended my game.
Awesome.
And I was doing really well. And then it basically comes up and says, if you fail this mission, you've lost the game because you've lost your base. And it ruined me. And I'm not going to say any more on it because actually the experience of ruining me was just so brilliant. I was annoyed, obviously, because I'd lost a huge amount of progress and I really thought I was onto a winner. But it's fucking cool. If you've not played XCOM yet, I can't say enough times. I mean, you got into that bit, right, Dave?
Well, Unknown?
Yeah.
I loved Unknown.
Precisely.
And and I totally wouldn't think that was my sort of thing. The only other turn-based game I've ever liked is Worms and Advance Wars.
I mean, they're two fucking great games.
Yeah, but turn-based is not for me. But XCOM Enemy Unknown was amazing.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And you know what? It kind of annoyed me because every time I do anything like this and saying like this, the top comments, people are always going, oh yeah, I might get that, but I don't really like turn-based strategy.
Yeah, totally.
So I'm not going to. And it's like, fucking ignore your brain and buy this game.
Enemy Unknown was my first XCOM game, and it's one of my favourite games I've ever played.
I wasn't interested in that game at all in the build-up to it. And then the copy came into it. I thought, give it a go, see what everyone's talking about.
Claws.
And then I was like, oh yeah,
I must have sunk about 60 hours into it.
The first weekend, I couldn't get off it. The first weekend I was playing it. The whole weekend I dedicated to it.
And what I will say is, if you do play it, just go for it. Play classic Iron Man. Just jump straight in.
See, I still haven't tried that.
I'm
talking about from whatever the normal mode is.
No, you've got to try it. Because honestly, I played it through on normal and I enjoyed it. I played it through on normal saves, not that difficult, and I enjoyed it. And I finished the game and thought, what a great game. Really enjoyed that.
I'm just worried it's a bit too intimidating.
No, it's not.
Too hardcore.
It is, but it isn't, because it actually, you realise when you then go back, because I thought, I'll have a little go. I thought, I'll just have a little look at what it's like on classic Iron Man. Like, just for a frame of reference. And then I realised that was the game.
Right.
And it changed the entire game.
Absolutely. You mentioned the kind of the bad time you had with that base invasion that actually stands out to you. And I had a similar one. I've just been playing. My campaign was going really, really well. I'd taken a few injuries, but no deaths for the first 8-9 missions, going really, really well considering difficulty. And then I wiped. I had a mission where I failed it.
Yeah.
It was a really important mission. I lost one of my best soldiers, and that is actually my favorite part of playing through this campaign. I'm still going with it, but that stands out just because I was just starting to get a little bit complacent, and then it's like, yeah,
fucked you.
You're playing XCOM, by the way. See ya.
It's just it changes, and it's almost hard to explain why it's so much fun. But when you play it on like that, it is that thing of, because you can't undo anything.
And you'd be so tempted if you had lost a soldier that you put a lot of time
You'd be
into
tempted to reload the game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I did that once.
Exactly.
Yeah, sure.
And the fact that it forces you not to means that
No,
those soldiers
absolutely.
become even
But
more
that-
important.
In a way, I'm really up for that. In a way, I'm also like, oh no, I don't know.
What's weird though is, and this is the weirdest thing, is when I was playing it on the Xbox, because now like they've patched it a lot and it's much more stable. But when it first came out, it was really buggy. And when I played it on Iron Man, I had to actually restart the game after about 4 or 5 hours of progress, about 3 or 4 times, because it crashed. It fatally crashed, and every time I loaded the game, it was frozen, and it meant I had to start a new game because I had no earlier saves, because Iron Man only has 1 save. A massive flaw in the game, not going to lie. But every time it happened, it says so much about the game and the nature of Iron Man that I didn't go, fuck you game, I'm not playing anymore. I just went, all right, I'll start a new game and I'll do slightly better this time. Because you start to realise that
I lost my save actually. Yeah, you're right.
yeah, but I just think, I'm going to do it better. But Iron Man, like often the nature of how difficult it is you'll play it for 3 or 4 hours, about 5 or 6 times before you will manage to get
absolutely.
past the early stage.
I've already done that with Within. I've
you-
played twice and just thought, you know what, I'm going to start again.
Well, this is what kind of puts me off Iron Man a little bit, and maybe you'll talk me around. But there was one level, it was quite a long way into with Unknown, and all I can remember of it is this kind of this base that looks a little bit yellowish. There's these big mechs walking around. I don't know if you remember something like that. Anyway, I had all my soldiers and they all leveled up. They're amazing, or most of them were. And I struggled on that mission.
I think
it took me ages
that's
to
one
do
of the
it.
battleships.
And I thought, if I can't do this and I'm losing my top soldiers on this, how am I ever going to do this with a group of rookie soldiers? And that's what kind of puts me off ever trying Iron Man.
That's why the game like changes, because it means that you become more aware of side things. Like when you've got your top squad, right?
Yeah.
Instead of just sending your same top squad on every mission, you become aware that if you lose that squad, you're
Right.
boned. So it means you start doing things like taking a rookie with them. On every mission, you take somebody lower level to get them some experience,
Right.
try and get them a kill, because you know that otherwise you're in a lot
So it
of
becomes-
trouble.
And it's not
more
even
of a management
It's not
type.
even deaths. It's the injuries that screw you over massively
Yeah.
as well. Because
Just they're out of action for 2 weeks. You're like, you have a mission where like you have to go on a mission and everyone's in sickbay. You're like, oh fuck. But then what's lovely about it is these horrible moments that it gets you into positions, and it's like you say, it's not about the moment. It's not about the horror of going, I've lost my man. It's the moments when you carry on. And there was a bit when I was playing Enemy Within on one of my many failed attempts before I managed to get beyond the first section of the game, where I had a really good team. Same thing as you. I'd done about 8 or 9 missions. Nobody had died. They were all getting really leveled up. They were getting great. And then a mission dicked me. I made a couple of bad calls and everybody got killed. And it literally, it was one of those things where you then end up sitting back, slumping in your chair, just staring at the screen afterwards. It just says KIA, KIA, KIA. And then this voice goes like, I'm sure those setbacks will improve, Commander. The council understands your position in this sort of very passive-aggressive way that's basically saying, sort your shit out, Commander. Otherwise we're pulling your
you're not
funding.
getting a check at the end of this month if you don't.
And then you have this moment of being like, I was just going, oh God, they're all of my good people. Oh God. And then being like, well, it's okay. And then clicking the button that spins the globe around and then it coming up going, bah, bah, and being terror mission. And it was like, oh fuck. But then I had the situation where I had to send 4 rookies with base equipment, just fucking assault rifles, to a terror mission
Jeez.
with chrysalids for the first time. And it was one of those things where I was like, well, I'll give it a go. Needless to say, it didn't go well.
No.
But what I liked about that is it's that experience of watching 4 rookies die and panic horribly when sent to try and save civilians from a force way outpowering them would have never happened if I'd had the ability to reload.
Yeah,
my
you
gun.
would have reloaded.
I would have reloaded and I never would have seen it. But yeah, so yeah.
Yeah.
You should, we just, again, I said I wouldn't talk about XCOM, I've just fucking done
I
it.
can't help it. I can't
It's
help it.
such a good game.
Yeah.
It's frighteningly good. I mean, it may well be one of my best games this generation.
Even on console. Even on console is really good.
Yeah, people say like, oh yeah, it's better on PC. To be honest, I actually prefer the controls on the console. Whoa, shoot me.
Plays very well. Plays very well.
Anyway, buy it, play it, done. Well, let's just jump on to some questions now, I think. Unless we have
Sure.
any more next-gen stuff we want to talk about?
I think we're next gen out at the moment, are we? We're not.
Pretty much.
Okay, we'll have more soon because obviously we are actually getting the consoles very soon. Ooh, I'm weirdly unexcited about that. But I say that as soon as they arrive, I'll pick one up and go, yeah, I want one of these. But yeah.
Should we do some questions?
Let's do it.
Right. Okay, we'll start off with our... it's a good question from the forums from Patterson48, who says he's thinking of getting a PlayStation 4, but being an Xbox chap this time around, is it worth going back and getting a PlayStation 3 to catch up on some of the exclusives?
It's not like films. It's not like watching Lord of the Rings in order.
Just wait a while.
No. Is it worth getting a PlayStation 3 for some of the exclusives that he's not going to be able to play?
It's had some great exclusives, but I think it's still up in the air as to how whether PS4 will be able to stream them with Gaikai. Like that system's been introduced next week. So I don't know if it's worth...
I don't think the Gaikai thing sounds terribly... Not for UK-based internet anyway.
Yeah, maybe. It's still a bit all over the place.
We haven't heard enough about it, really, have we?
No.
I think it will be really good for stuff like... If they could do it like Final Fantasy games, stuff where you can like have... Where you can afford to have that slight lag on button presses, that will be fine. But anything action-based, I just can't see it working. I would say, though, actually...
I tell you, I was going to say, but being an Xbox guy this generation as well, for the most part... for reasons that will become evident later on, I've been taking a look at a lot of the PlayStation 3 library this week, and Jesus, there's some games I want to play.
There's some really good games. I mean, actually, I bought one a couple of years ago. I definitely would recommend getting a PlayStation 3, but I'd Dreamcast it. Just wait about 6 months, I'd say, and suddenly retailers will be going, PlayStation 3, 50 quid, you know, and buy it as a kind of like, you buy one of the smaller ones or whatever, or buy an old one off a mate.
Yep.
I mean, like some amazing games. Valkyria Chronicles.
Oh, God, that looks so
it's really
up
good.
my street, man.
Tokyo Jungle. If you play one game, make it Tokyo Jungle.
That's a game where you play all the animals, right?
He plays like a Pomeranian. It's like SOS: A Final Escape meets Metal Gear Solid meets playing as a dog. It's the fucking greatest game. Sorry, in my honourable mentions for something that's coming up, I forgot to include Tokyo Jungle. It's over. Fired.
Flower. Uncharted 2. Last of Us.
Uncharted 3, though. No.
Uncharted 3 is still really good. It's just not as good as Uncharted 2.
Uncharted 2 is amazing. Yeah. It's like Indiana Jones, the game.
It's my favourite game of this generation, I think.
I think it's a quality game. Also, just stuff like, what's it called? I mean, Metal Gear Solid 4 was a bit overrated, I thought.
Yeah, still worth checking out.
God of War 3. God of War 3 is amazing. Really good. What else? Resistance 3, if you want a good shooter, that's really good.
Resistance 3. Resistance 3.
Demon's Souls.
Amazing.
Still pretty good. I mean, actually, we asked, obviously, for those of you who follow all the stuff, we're still playing through Demon's Souls in pants. We killed Flame Lurker.
And I'll have you know, we killed a boss last night.
Yeah, we killed Flame Lurker. I was, as Brant will be able to confirm, I was shitting myself about killing Flame Lurker for a long time, and then we did it first time. Admittedly, somebody did help us, some stranger on the internet.
Or did we help him?
I think we could have done it, though. I made a point of running in and hitting it quite a lot.
Yeah, you started to feel guilty.
I did, because I was like, oh my God, this is supposed to be a hard boss fight, and this guy's just killing it for me.
Wait, I'll help, Bosh. Yep, good.
Done my
Carry
bit.
on.
Carry on.
Okay, I'll flip between Twitter and the forum. We'll go over to...
Hello, Twitter.
Ooh.
Hello, Twitter, my old
Chris
friend.
Hatton asks, what is the next game that I should be excited about? Because I'm not seeing anything in the very near future that's really tickling his fancy.
Next gen or current gen or PC or everything?
I'm going to say within the next couple of months.
The next game, generally.
What's exciting? XCOM's coming out Friday if you're in the UK.
I know, Matt, you haven't really been for this game the last few months, but I'm quite looking forward to Dead Rising 3.
I think
it
that's
looks fun.
I think it will be.
One of the most interesting launch titles.
I played for about half an hour the other day and had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
And it's still just
it's looking a lot more like Dead Rising than it did.
And I kind of like the fact that they've removed like the time limit restrictions. I know that was the entire point of the game.
You can play it like that though.
I wouldn't though. That was
I would, because again, it comes back to that thing where if I fail, that's my story. But you know,
that's exactly it.
Yeah,
and that's why actually, for the same reason, it really annoyed me that for many years everybody talked about Dead Rising's broken save system, when actually I think it is one of the smartest and most interesting mechanics.
We're in a zombie apocalypse. Don't worry, I reloaded my last save.
It got a bit silly in the second one when it was like it felt less a case of like having to be quick and more a case of having to like keep up with some insane file of facts, like of just being like, oh, then we meet Susan at 3 and then we're going to have a coffee with the guy who's a zombie at 8, and it was like, really? It was juggling too much. But in the first game, it was just it was that wonderful thing of being like, oh, it's fine, I can make it, I can get these people back to the base and then I can make it, and then going, I can't make it.
Everybody's
Everybody's dead.
Get to the air then.
Battlefield 4 on next gen.
Yeah,
as well.
I think Battlefield 4 next gen is a good shout.
I mean, Battlefield 4. I've got it installed. I'll try and play it in the next week.
Isn't Tearaway on the Vita this month?
That's meant to be really good.
Early word is that Tearaway is incredible.
Well, there we are. There's a few games to
Is that just on the
celebrate
Vita?
over.
On Vita,
Yeah.
I've heard some very high
Is it
scores.
coming
for
out
that.
on anything else?
No, just Vita. It's Media Molecule's new game.
Yeah.
Just Vita.
It's a bit of a shame. It's just Vita, though, right?
Yeah.
Apparently, I can't say too much, but apparently it works exceptionally well given its constraints. I think that's half the point of the game is the hardware as well. So, apparently it's...
Because it uses the whole finger thing, right? On the back.
Apparently it's... some people have gone crazy and
It
said
does use the
gone
finger thing on the
crazy
back.
with their comparisons, but maybe it is
Oh,
that good.
really?
But yeah.
Really?
I'm hearing like...
The
you know,
Vita's Halo, that sort of
Well,
thing.
I'll
I'm
be
hearing
interested.
Mario being thrown around.
I'll be
Really?
interested because I mean, like, I've not always been a massive. I thought Little Big Planet was always heavily overrated.
Yes, me
so
too.
I'm interested to see what happens to them. I'm actually really not excited about anything coming out, which is weird because in recent years, I think I blame this new generation, frankly, because people aren't sure that there's going to be a massive kind of audience straight away this year. People are holding off on stuff, and I think back to recent years where it used to be like at this point in the year. Usually I wouldn't be excited about games coming out for Christmas. I'd be excited about games coming out in January. Like last year I was really excited about DMC, which ended up being awesome and selling nothing. Year before that, or maybe the same year, we had like Mass Effect 3 and all these things. It always seemed like there was some really big, meaty, awesome games coming out in January. And this year, not so much.
Talking of DMC, that's on sale on the Xbox Game Store at the moment. I think it's just $9.99.
I think DMC
So
is
if you haven't bought
great
that,
game.
$9.99, definitely pick it up. Resident Evil Revelations is the same price as well. That's meant to be quite good.
Hold on. And before another game, which you should be excited about, well, I'm excited about,
Right.
but isn't I don't think it'll be like available to all in its glory, is
Up to
The
that.
Forest.
The
seen
Forest?
The Forest with Oculus Rift support? Where
Oh,
you're a guy
right,
who gets like
yeah.
lost in the forest, like, and he's being hunted, and you've got Oculus Rift glasses
What?
on, and you just walk
That
around.
sounds
The
scary.
A trailer just came out for it this week. It looks incredible, but of course, getting that gear, might be a problem. But if they can get it commercially available, that could be. I think that sort of thing. I'm speaking to a few people like Eric Beesman from Raven. He loves that kind of idea of VR. A lot of developers think that's the next generation.
It's
for them.
impressive. I tried it for the first time last week, and I still think that it doesn't really work too well with games where you're physically moving around because it's
You
a
need the
disconnect.
treadmill like they have.
Yeah.
Oh,
the
Oculus
number of
Rift, man.
vines going around about Oculus Rift, man, it's just you were posting loads of them, Chris.
I got a little bit obsessed with that guy at the VideoGamer Expo.
He did look insane.
Yeah.
But I think that I'm more excited about seeing games where your character is sitting in a static position for whatever reason. What's weird to me though is everyone's sitting around going, "Oh, Oculus Rift, nah, it's not." I mean, like, you're never going to be able to pitch that to consumers. People, and it's like racing games. Why hasn't?
Yeah.
Like the idea of having a racing game where you're sitting with a wheel in front of you and wearing a helmet, which means that when you look around, you're seeing exactly what you see in the car. That is like that makes me excited about playing racing games, which is weird. Oh, one thing I am excited about, which you should be excited about, is FTL.
Oh, it's getting a advanced version.
Yeah, like FTL's getting like
For free,
a
right?
free update if you've already got FTL. I've got it on PC. I love that game. But it's getting an enhanced edition that's coming out on the iPad, which is like perfect.
Oh yeah, actually that would
Because
that's
it's
awesome.
sort of the sort of game where you do just click on stuff and say, "Man, go there, do this," and it's like basically you're in charge of a spaceship, but it's really cool. And also they've got some new missions being written for it and some new stuff being written by Chris Avallone of all people of Obsidian. So
Yep.
yeah,
When's it out
man.
on iPad? Do you know? It's the
don't
kind of
know.
game I've always really wanted to try,
it's
but
a-
I never seem to slot it in anywhere. Do you know what I mean?
think you'd
But
like
It's
it.
early next year, I think, isn't it? Is that?
I think early
right?
next year, but I think you'd really like
I'd
it.
definitely try it on iPad, yeah.
Okay, we are going to move on past this question, but
Sure.
another couple of games. Surely Zelda on the 3DS
Oh, yeah.
and
I always forget.
Mario 3D
Mario
World
as well.
this holiday.
Well, Mario 3D World, I can't get that excited
Well,
by it because I know I'm not going to play it because I know I'm not going to own a Wii U.
Yeah, but for those who do own that, surely that's going to be
Yeah, I know, but
it's
I'm
going to be up there.
Got to talk
Simon's
from a personal
gone.
perspective, haven't I?
Simon's gone bloody crazy.
The
over
thing
it.
is, like, I feel like a dick about this, but somebody yesterday said, "Oh my god, if you haven't got a Wii U yet, this is an amazing deal. You need to get one." I think it was a link to Play.com saying it was a Wii U for 200 quid with Super Mario.
It was last year's
Lands?
one, wasn't it? Wasn't it Mario
but
Brothers?
Yeah, Super Mario Brothers, new Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah.
So it's the 2D
Yeah.
side-scrolling one, and it's one of those things where it's like, I know that it's bad of me to look at that for a new console, 200 quid with a game, and to go, nah, still not interested. But it's like, it's not my fault. Nintendo haven't
Fair
done a
enough.
good enough job.
That seems fair
But
enough.
it's a shame because if they'd gone 200 quid for a Wii U with Super Mario World this Christmas, I would that
Pikmin
would
3.
insta buy. Pikmin 3 can fuck off.
What? I really enjoyed it this year.
Yeah, but it's not going to be like I'm not going to buy a system for it.
Well, no, it's a bit of a bundle, I guess.
It's all about having a good bundle game, right? In my mind, anyway. And that game for me, I'd go, yeah. I'd pay 200 quid just for the pleasure of playing it with my little brother at Christmas and having a wicked time.
Yeah.
But as it is, I'm not going to spend 230 quid.
They should
That's
port
just too
Tokyo
much.
Jungle to.
It's silly, I
There you
think,
go.
because software costs them nothing to bundle a disc in with the
Well,
console.
yeah, it doesn't make any sense because
No.
you'd think that the only reason they wouldn't do it is because they want to sell more
loads,
copies of
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
They're not going to sell loads of copies of it anyway because they haven't got enough consoles out there. So it's like chicken and egg stuff. Never mind. We'll see. Maybe next Christmas. Probably not.
Let's see here. This one's targeted at Dave.
Is it?
Yeah, if you
Oh,
could
God.
trade me in for one next gen launch title, what? Oh my god, I struggled with that, didn't I? What launch title would it be?
All of them,
Well, that was harsh.
including Rise.
This one's targeted at Matt. What's the next evolution for reviews after setting them to Tom Jones? And suggest a couple of names in the form of Reviewsicles or Musiviews.
Newsy views.
Musiviews.
Newsy views and reviewsicles. That's not bad.
I like Reviewsicles.
We had
Reviewsicles is quite fun to say.
Reviewsicles is quite good actually. Somebody said Karavuioki, which is a bit of a
Bit
mouthful.
wordy.
I like that just because it's a bit rubbish.
I do think Reviewsicles is quite good just because it's
Reviewsicles.
equally rubbish. But
And it's just it just sounds nice.
Reviewsicles.
Yeah.
Reviewsicles.
That's the best one.
I think
Yeah.
Reviewsicles is the best one. So congratulations to whoever
Thank
you are.
you, Michael Scotes.
Michael Scott.
Hold on, which
you are
game
a
are you
winner.
gonna? Which game are you going to review to like something like Window Licker by FX Twin? I just want to see that. I want to see that in actual video
Hasn't really
form.
got any singing, has it?
No, you and Miller can do the dancing though.
That's a whole new level of embarrassment that
And
I'm
you
not
can
ready
gif,
to open.
You can give faces onto that. No, we're gonna make it.
That's a lot of After Effects work, dude.
Chris?
I'm not at that level.
Chris,
And he's
how-
definitely not at that level.
How often do you like sleeping a week? 'Cause it's over now. It's halved at least.
I'd say a couple times a day.
You have 4 days to learn how to use After Effects at the same level as whoever does the videos for Apex Twin.
Yes, good.
Go. No, I don't know what we're going to do next. We have, as you've seen, we have smashed through the Looking Glass, and we're not. It's gone beyond just being a joke about Bonnie Tyler being in Battlefield 4, and now we are just singing songs every week. So if you do have suggestions for games you'd like to review, or if you have a good pun, I must say, actually, all kudos for this week's one, which was, if you haven't heard it yet, it's Tom Jones's Tom Jones's sex bomb to the
Sound of
Sound
XCOM.
of
That still doesn't
XCOM.
make sense, man.
No, it doesn't.
Try it again.
We got the gist. I'm not going to say it again. But that was Dave's idea, which was excellent.
I've been singing it for years.
Yeah.
I just sit at my desk going, XCOM, XCOM.
It's pretty good.
I really wish.
Anyway,
If you've got a
let's
good
move on.
pun about a recent or upcoming game, then do send us over. I don't know what we're doing next week.
Can we do something special for Christmas, please?
Yes,
That-
we'll probably do something for Christmas.
Wonderful.
But yeah,
Oh, speaking of which, it's time to announce the podcast competition. Does anyone have a podcast competition?
oh god, we haven't got one.
Well,
yet,
the
have we?
PlayStation 4 is coming out. Surely we need to tie this in somehow.
Well, they're
yeah,
both
did,
coming
did
out,
we
aren't
come
they?
up with one? Did we come up with an idea?
I think we might have, but then promptly forgot it.
I think I know what it is.
Wasn't it a mascot for a next gen console? Was that it?
Yes, it was. So what we want.
This is like, oh god, they've seen behind the curtain now. This is how
This is how it works.
competition's
It's
performed.
literally just throwing ideas at walls until something sticks or slides pleasantly. No, what we got to do, what you got to do, not us. Fuck off. We're not doing anything.
and I did shit.
I'm not doing fucking shit. It's right. Every other console in generations for years and years and years, I've always had like a mascot. So back in the day, Sega amazingly used to have Alex Kidd, who was a weird fat boy
Sonic.
with large hands. Then they got rid of him for Sonic, who was better.
Best
Yeah.
move ever.
It was a good move.
Alex Kidd, fuck off.
And they even had Opa
You've got
Opa.
issues, though,
At one point, they had
it's
Opa Opa. Opa
Opa.
It's a fucking
Fantasy
little spaceship.
Zone, is that what it was? Yeah.
That little spaceship was a mascot.
With the like angel wings.
Mental. So yeah, that's a little history lesson for you guys. Obviously, Nintendo have always had Mario, etc., etc. But this year is a bit weird because obviously we have Knack, who is sort of like they're going for the kind of mascot game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But Knack's not a very good mascot
No.
because it's like he changes his shape.
He's just a load of bits.
and he just doesn't look very fun. I'm going to put that out there.
Wow.
Knack doesn't look like a fun guy.
Knack.
I would not go to a party with Knack.
I'd go to a party with Knack.
Ratchet, we'd be
Because
all
like,
over that.
if I totally go to a party with Knack, because I'd be like showing off all the stuff he could do. Look, hey, check out my friend. He's made of golden triangles. He can
Yeah.
shape any form.
Check those polygons.
But then obviously because he's a large metal object, he's not going to get any of the girls. So I
So
can just
you-
be his sort of like,
Yeah.
he can be my wingman. He'd be great at parties. Anyway, what we want you to do is to design a new mascot. No big deal. Just design a new mascot. Now, you can either design a new mascot from scratch.
And we need like a 5-year plan with this as well. Like
That's harsh. You just need to design. You can either design a new mascot or you can bring back an old mascot. And
with a
actually,
new
this might be
twist, a new
better.
next
Let's just
generation
say.
twist.
So get an old mascot. It can be like a really well-known mascot. It could be a niche mascot. It could be a failed one. It could just be a character you thought should have been a mascot.
Rystar.
Yeah, like Rystar. But it has to be something like Rystar or Spyro. We can't have like bloody
Spyro,
Mr.
bring
Gears of
Spyro
War,
back.
Man, Crash
Spyro's bigger than
Bandicoot.
ever.
No, he isn't. They've sold him out.
Yeah, I'm with Chris on this. They've
damn it.
pissed on his corpse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Fucking
that was a
Skylanders.
really brutal image. Yeah, so basically what you got to do is either invent a mascot from scratch or preferably pick an old mascot and redesign them. Don't all do Spyro. That's
Actually,
fucking
yeah.
boring.
But now you said that no one will do Spyro, so do Spyro.
Well, one person do Spyro at least, but not everyone. Jesus, stop talking about
Okay.
dragons.
Brave.
Brave.
A Warrior's Tale.
That's not even
Pomeranian from Tokyo
It's a
Jungle.
film.
Nothing to do with
Isn't it?
Is that a
Yes.
No. No.
It
That was,
is.
no, I'm not talking about the Pixar film, or whatever it was. Talking about Brave, Warrior's Tale, Easy 1000G. Go and buy it.
Right. Anyway, draw a picture of a thing. Do it in MS Paint. Do it badly or whatever. But we want to see modernised versions of old classics. Like, you know, what would Jack and Daxter look like now if they were mascots for the current age, for a 2013/2014 market? But obviously, do it in MS Paint and make it look a bit shit and post it on the forum. Go to the forum, make a little post, put it on Imgur or whatever, put it on one of those image hosting sites
Yep.
and put a link in so we can have a look at it. And as always, we will go through and we'll make an amazing kind of Tony Hart style video looking at your creations and probably taking the piss out of them. And by proxy, you.
But nicely.
Do it anyway.
Sometimes.
Because it's really fun. Also, you can win a game by just...
Oh crap! Yeah,
Post it on the forum.
yeah. We mention that the competition itself wins a game.
Yeah, that's
the
the
reason
thing.
for.
That's the thing. It's not as easy as the competition for first person to post in the forum on the specific thread that...
Actually, we
Chris
should
is
tell
going
them the
to
thread
make.
name now to make sure they listen to the end of the podcast.
Oh, yeah, the thread name
Ooh,
is called
give it
Mr. Bombastic.
Mr. Bombastic, like that a
Yeah.
lot.
First person to post in the Mr. Bombastic thread gets a copy of
Oh man,
Bulletstorm on PlayStation 3. And yeah, go to the other forum thread that will be like competition something. What's it called? I don't fucking know. Draw us a stupid
Remember the
picture, win a
competition?
game.
I've lost track. I don't know what's going
I don't
on.
know what's going
at
on
all.
either. I've had a long day.
I got it. We're
Brilliant.
okay. The instructions are all on the internet anyway. So go have a look there.
Everything's
You're
on
on
the
the internet right now.
Member of the Month competition.
Yeah, win some free games. Happy days. Monday, Tuesday,
I
happy
think
days.
that covers it. I think that
Wednesday,
covers it.
Thursday, happy days.
Did
they go Friday, Saturday?
No, we've done it wrong.
What's wrong with Friday and Saturday?
Rocking all night with you.
That's the next song. There we go.
That could actually work.
That could work. We just need to think of a game.
PlayStation 4.
Are we still podcasting?
I don't know. Thanks very much for listening. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.